ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीहरे नमः। श्रीहरे नमः। श्रीहरे। Respected His Divine Grace Prabhuji and devotees from ISKCON and dear students, faculty members. So, namaste to all of you. We are organizing this lecture under the Center for Indian Knowledge System. So, as you know, in NIT Calicut, we have several multidisciplinary centers. And one such center is this Center for Indian Knowledge System. And there has been knowledge generated by our forefathers. And this knowledge is available in several branches, starting with the language, then philosophy, literature, then Vedas, actually starts with Vedas, then Itihasas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas, then philosophy, then the science, engineering and technology, which we group together as one category of knowledge. And then we have health sciences, Ayurveda, and then military sciences, Dhanurveda, and then music, dance and other art forms, Gandharva Veda, and then engineering, technology, architecture, called as Sthapatya Veda, which also includes economics, Arthashastra. And this knowledge was made available through the oral tradition, that is teacher-student, Guru-Sishya Parampara, till about 200 years before, that is before the Britishers came here. And after that, the system of education was changed and there was an abrupt end to this knowledge. But this knowledge has been studied in an informal way. But in the formal education, this knowledge was not given that much emphasis or so. But now, the countries worldwide, they are actually going through this knowledge, and they have also demonstrated the usefulness of this knowledge. Then we actually in India, if our Indian leaders or masters say, many of us are not willing to listen, but if it comes from a foreign land, then we also are somewhat interested in. It is one way it is good or bad, whatever it is. But now a situation has come when the foreigners have understood the importance of the knowledge generated in this part of the world. And that is how this knowledge is termed as Bharatiya Paramparik Jnana Vigyan, like that. So, in the National Education Policy 2020, it is mandatory for the higher education institutions to bring awareness to the students about this knowledge. And there is a vast scope for making use of this knowledge for our day-to-day life. And scientists and engineers can definitely make advantage of this knowledge. So that way, our director took interest and he established this Center for Indian Knowledge System. And under this center, currently we are offering 4 courses as open electives. One course is titled as Basic Sanskrit, and another as Introduction to Indian Knowledge System, another as Indian Ethos and Values in Management, and another as Indian Aspects in Lifestyle Management. So these 4 courses are currently being offered, and these courses give an introduction to the various branches of knowledge in our ancient India. And our director has also taken interest to establish 2 student clubs under this Center for Indian Knowledge System. One is the Science and Spirituality Club, and another is Vivekananda Study Circle. So this today's lecture is being organized under this Science and Spirituality Club. We are very, very thankful to Prabhuji for accepting our request and address all of us. And this is the, I should say, the starting point. And then I humbly request all the students to look for more programs, and then so that because in the student life students need to have a calm mind to absorb the things being taught in the class. In fact, it is said 1/4 of the subject knowledge is obtained by attending the classes, and 1/4 is obtained by self-study. Then 1/4 by interaction with the other classmates, etc. Then the last 1/4 is obtained only in due course of time. So, but this 25% of the knowledge of a subject which you have to get by attending the classes itself is becoming a very, very difficult task nowadays. In fact, I remember we had 1 hour contact for a course, and it was spread over 5 days, 5 1-hour classes for several subjects, and for some subjects we had 4 contact hours per week. But now this 1 hour contact has been reduced to 50 minutes, 50 minutes, and 5 hours or 4 hours all have been reduced to 3 hours. Only if some design subject has got 4 hours contact, otherwise majority of the courses have only 3 hours. 3 contact periods of 50 minutes each. So this 50 minutes is a very, very small amount of time, and one has to focus on what the teacher discusses in the class. So we'll have to bring our mind to the topic of discussion, and we have a lot of distractions. But how to concentrate and how to focus our attention, that's a big challenge actually. And I am observing, I am taking my courses are all the morning 8 to 9, and my students are here. Evening 5 to 6. Evening 5 to 6 is slightly odd time for students to have continued attention. And morning is generally preferred, but unfortunately these days students go to sleep very late, and then they are finding it difficult to get up in the morning and come to the class. This is happening now. But as per our Indian system, morning time is very ideal for studies, we say. But I am really thankful to our students. At least about 60% of them are turning up to the morning class. So that percentage has to increase. And for that, we need to listen to such masters, and that will actually give us energy to be punctual, etc. So with this, I just say briefly about Prabhuji, and I am sure you have all gone through the brochure which is shared with you, We have given a brief introduction in that brochure also. As we know, Prabhuji is the Vice Chairman and co-mentor, Global Hare Krishna Movement, and President, Vrindavan Chandrodaya Mandir. He is also the Senior Vice President of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Bangalore, and Vice Chairman of the Akshay Patra Foundation, Bangalore. He has been working in the field of spiritual education since 1984 and social development since 2000. Although he had been passionate about science since his school days, he became introduced to Indian spirituality as an undergraduate student in PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore. Impressed by the profound concepts of spirituality, he pursued the same even more vigorously while doing his master's program in electrical communication engineering at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. He joined ISKCON in 1984, became involved in Akshay Patra since 2000, which has become the largest school meal program, feeding over 2.2 million underprivileged children in 16 states and 2 union territories from 72 locations in over 23,000 government and government-aided schools in the country. In fact, this Akshay Patra has become a case study in HBR long back, and even now papers are being published about Akshay Patra Foundation's work. I came across a paper in the year 2018 listing out the how Akshay Patra Foundation is helping the social cause. He was able to combine his values of compassion from his spiritual learning with his education in technology and apply the same to create a social development organization like the Akshay Patra Foundation. He continues to research, teach, and talk extensively on spirituality, social development, and the intersection of science and spirituality. So it is very opt that we are able to get an opportunity to listen to Prabhuji on this topic of science and spirituality. So on behalf of all those assembled here and on behalf of Director Niti Calicut and on my own behalf, I offer our humble pranams to Prabhuji. Thank you.
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Professor Sridharan, for inviting me to this, to address the students here. I know for the last about 6 months he has been corresponding with us, and very happy to be in this institute and to address all of you. You just now heard from Professor Sridharan about Indian knowledge system and its importance. And how much time do I have? 50 minutes. Already you have said. With Q&A. Okay, I'll speak for a while. And then if any of you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. You see, in our life, we make some decisions. Like, say, for instance, the dress that you are wearing, you made a decision, or maybe somebody you're connected to you, concerned about you, and said, this is good for you, look good for you, etc. And you have that. Tomorrow, when you pass out of the institute, you will get many different job offers, and you will make a decision and select one of them. Again, in future, at some point in your life, there will be an occasion when you will have to make a decision about choosing your spouse. And in your life, you will make some decision about what kind of a house you will live in, and maybe what kind of a car that you will buy, and so on. Right? All of these are decisions that you make in your life. There are some decisions, like, say, for instance, if I were to ask you, the gender we are born with or into, some of you are boys, some of you are girls. Did you choose that gender? Was it anywhere asked, do you like to be born as a man or a woman? The parents to whom you will be born, did you have a choice? The skin color that we will have, did we have a choice? I'm sure you have all come across in our lives, there are some people more intelligent than us. Of course, somebody is here who's the most intelligent person. I don't want to offend him or her. But generally we know there are more intelligent people. And we have also come across some people not so intelligent. Did we choose how much intelligence we must have? Of course, we have some amount of intelligence and we come to institutes like this, we come to professor and other faculty members who will further improve it, sharpen your intelligence as much as possible, certainly. But there is some base level of intelligence that all of us have. Did we choose that? If we had an opportunity, we could have had maybe a little, much more than that. But we were born with a certain amount of intelligence. Some people are very talented. Some people are not so talented. Did we choose that? You see how there are so many things we don't choose. And it is given to us. Or we are born with it, or we get that. So what is the basis on which these things are decided? I'll give you one example. Some years ago, maybe 2, 3, 4 years, some of you will immediately relate with this. On the front page of Times of India newspaper, there was a small box of information, and that said, Mark Zuckerberg, you all know, a billionaire. And he, with his wife, standing next to him, having a bundle in their hand, and the art news caption said, Mark Zuckerberg, the billionaire of the world, now has a child. He became a father. And both father and mother, they are holding the bundle in their hand, the bundle of joy, and they are happy. And then it said, the child now will inherit this billions of dollars. Right? It's a matter of time. The child can legitimately get. So I was reading this, and then of course it said more details in the page number 9 or something. Times of India has more international news in some inside page. You only get a highlight on the first page. And then my eyes went down. Right on the front page, there was another picture. A much bigger picture. There is a woman, young woman. She's holding hand to the hand of another elderly person, looks like her father-like person. And the father-like person is also holding a bundle in his hand. And both of them are wading through hip-deep water. And the caption said, this woman gave birth to a child 2 days back in a corporation maternity home in Chennai, which got flooded. And the hospital authorities said, please go take your child and go home. We can't take care. Our hospital is all flooded with water. And so she is in the streets of Chennai with apparently her father, who's trying to help her, and they are trying to hold the baby, 2-day-old baby, wading through waters. Now look at this. One baby is born in California in the house of a billionaire. Another baby is born in the house of someone in Chennai whose father and mother can't even provide basic maternity care. Look at the situation. Why these differences come about in this world? What I am telling, my dear young boys and girls, please think and understand, this is not some fairy tale. This is reality happening all around us. Okay, I'll pause here and I'll switch to another important subject. Hundreds of years back, all the science and technology that you are studying, it is all a development over the last about 500 or 600 years. Before that, this kind of a science and technology did not exist. Now, in fact, it is said that there were some people, in fact, the word scientist did not exist, and before that they were known as natural philosophers. The word philosopher was known, somebody who is very intelligent fellow, thinking deeply. And there is some people who are thinking about nature, and they are called natural philosophers. And later on, at a certain point of time, the word scientist came about. But before that, there were another kind of people in the world. I'm sure you have all come across wizards in mathematics. They would play around with numbers, take a number, add that number many, many times, same number as the number itself. That's how you get the square of a number, or take a number, divide that. Thank you. Take a number, divide that by another number, what happens? You know, these kind, playing around with numbers. The mathematicians. And so they were another stream of people, mathematicians, they were experts, they were interested in. Please do come, there are a few seats here if you wish to. Somebody at the back trying to find a way. Some of you may have to. Yeah. Please find. Yeah. No problem. Okay, so there were some people who were wizards and playing around with numbers, and they were the mathematicians. Then, at some point, you all know the story. There was a man who was sitting under an apple tree, and an apple fell from the tree. Most people would have picked up and eaten that apple. But there was one man who started thinking, why did the apple fall to the ground? And that led to the discovery of gravity. In fact, Newton formulated, and he even calculated why did the apple fall to the ground, and what was the force that was acting? And that's how you have the law of gravitation. And if you see, he found that the force that acts between two bodies is equal to the mass, the product of the masses, and inversely proportionate to the square of the distance. Right? Simple, we read this in high school, I guess. Now, this was a striking discovery. Because mathematicians were having these ideas, concepts of multiplying one number with another number, divide that by a square of a number. But now, in nature, mathematics was working. What is happening in nature, you are able to describe it mathematically. In fact, this began to happen in many other fields of mathematics and science. And so for the first time, there was a marriage between science and mathematics. Scientists were discovering the laws of nature, and they were able to express the laws of nature in mathematical equations. In other words, laws of nature are so precise that it can be expressed by mathematical equations. In fact, this is one of the foundations of science, because of which we have technology, because of which we have good things in life. We have, all of us have these mobile phones and the internet and travel in an aircraft. All of this is possible because there are laws of nature, there are definite laws of nature, and they are precise, and they can be expressed precisely in mathematical equations. This is the foundation of science and technology. Because of this, things become predictable. because it follows a certain pattern which is described by equations, and hence you are able to manipulate this and take advantage of it to improve human society, human life. So in other words, it was around this time, Galileo, when this was happening, he made a statement. It looks like the universe is a giant book written in the language of mathematics. So this was one of the important things that scientists figured out, that everything in nature is governed by laws, and these laws are precise, and these laws can be expressed in precise mathematical equations. And hence, this laws of nature, precise laws of nature, are ubiquitous in the universe. You can describe a black hole in space. You can describe an electron and the charge of an electron and the movement of an electron in an atom. All of them are governed by precise laws. Now, let us come to this question. If everything in this world is governed by laws of nature, what about we being born in a certain family, being born with a certain skin color, being born with a certain amount of intelligence or lack of it, being born with a certain talent or a lack of it? Are they also governed by some laws? Or is it just a random thing? Now you see, how did people think about when an apple fell from a tree before Newton? Now we all know if something falls, it's because of gravity. Right? It's so intuitive, you know. When before the idea of a gravity was not there, how did people think? People saw apples falling from trees, I'm sure. And here, people would have seen coconuts falling from tree. How did people think about it? The understanding was, at that time, there is a natural place for everything, and all objects tend to go to their natural place. The natural place for an apple is the ground, and hence it tries to come down when it is freed from a tree. The natural place for gases is to go up, and hence it goes up. This was the kind of an understanding. They didn't know gravity. They didn't know that there is a force that's acting. So they had a way of thinking. So in the same way, when they didn't know about gravity, they had some understanding, some vague understanding. But then, of course, science and scientists like Newton improved on it, and we have all benefited because of that today. In the same way, there may be certain areas of reality that we are observing, we don't know it, and so we simply say, it's by chance. You are born in a good family, by chance. Someone is born in California, by bad chance. Somebody is born in Chennai or somewhere else, or someone is born in Africa. So, like this, we try to have some kind of an approximate understanding. But from what we are seeing all around us, everything is governed by laws of nature. Just like we have been having rain all these few months here, isn't it? Now suppose in the Ghats here, in the forest all around here, if it has rained and there is a drop of water on a leaf, and at some point the drop of water at the edge becomes bigger, bigger, and then at a certain point it detaches from the leaf and falls down, isn't it? And I'm sure some of you know how you can actually calculate at what point the drop of water becomes bigger, and then at some point it detaches from the leaf and falls down. There are ways to calculate. Or I take a piece of, I take a stone and throw it up, or throw a stone. And if I give you the angle at which I throw and the initial velocity at which I throw, all of you can do a simple calculation and predict where the stone will go and hit, isn't it? So you can see how a drop of water, a stone throwing, and everything is governed by laws of nature. And so our being born in a certain family, in a certain situation, we live for some number of years, are they also governed by some laws which we don't know yet? So now you see, these are real life situations about all of us. So we must think about it. I'll tell you another interesting feature about this world. There is a concept called fine-tuning of the universe. Scientists say there are about 15 or 18 or 20 constants in the world, in the universe. Like, for example, charge of an electron, mass of an electron. These are all small numbers. The gravitational constant, which is 10 power minus 11 something, 6 into 10 power minus 11 newtons, meter square, so on, so whatever the units are. So like this, there are about 15 or 18 or 20 constants, and scientists say if any of these constants were even a millionth different, 10 power minus 12, slightly different, the world would not have evolved and life would not have come about, and we would not be existing here in this room, and we would be talking about all these things. This is called fine-tuning of the universe, universal constants, because of which we have a universe which is stable and life is going on. So, how did all this happen? These are important questions that we should dwell on. In fact, Stephen Hawking made a statement that this fine-tuning argument has serious ramifications in religion and spirituality. So, Professor Sridharan was telling about Indian knowledge systems. Indian knowledge systems can be broadly divided into two categories. One is called Apara Vidya and Para Vidya. Apara Vidya, called inferior knowledge, it is actually referring to knowledge about this world, metallurgy, how you build a house, all of these kind of knowledge about the mundane world. Paravidya is about understanding who we are. Who are we who have come into this world? We are observing, and we are here for a short while, and then at a certain point of time, we go away, isn't it? You must have experienced in your life of some senior members in your family, or friends, or neighbors, somebody known to you, or we have all read in the newspaper, somebody so-and-so passed away. And we all know one day we also have to pass away. Today, you see, I'm sitting here and I'm speaking to you. I'm using a certain language. Look at the phenomena that's happening. I have vocal cords and I'm vibrating my vocal cords in a certain way. And you all know a language, and we all understand a certain language, and this language is governed by certain grammatical rules, and I am following the rules and I am speaking, and if I make one mistake, immediately you will make out, hey, what is this? Swamiji is speaking all wrong English. And that sound I am creating is falling on your ears, and it is vibrating the eardrum, and it is making a certain sense for you. Look at all these such complex processes that are working in the process of communication and understanding. Now, I can speak, some people can sing. You know, there are rock stars, singers. They sing so well. They can hold a whole stadium of 30,000 people enthralled. Now, I can speak, I'm not a good singer. I can't hold anybody enthralled. I won't try. So, some people can't. And now some people can do all of these. They have all these abilities. Now, I'm exhibiting all these things. Suddenly, something can happen and I will collapse. And then they will say, oh, Swamiji was speaking, but suddenly he died. He passed away. So what happens when somebody passes away? Please see, again, I'm not telling some fairy tale. This is something that's going to happen to each one of us. There will be a day when we have to leave this body. And mind you, you may have so many friends, relatives, and no one will come with you. No one can come with you. Even if you want, they cannot come with you. We have to go alone. It is an experience that we have to experience alone. It is going to be a personal and a private experience. Leaving this body and go away. And the body will be left behind. You see, when I'm alone, if a small spark falls on this body, and your father, mother will say, oh, beta, beti, what happened? Be careful. Isn't it? But one day, when I have left this body, we'll set the body on fire and turn it into ashes. And nobody will say anything. Hey, what to do? He's gone. So, the person who was full of feelings and ambitions and relationships and thoughts and ideas, suddenly he's gone. Where did he go? Isn't this a phenomena that we should be concerned about? In fact, our Vedic literatures say it's only when the consciousness has developed to a human life, this discerning ability, this viveka, this thinking, this sensitivity develops. That's why, you see, we have all seen in a butcher shop, Sometimes the butcher kills an animal and tears up and hangs the meat for a customer to come and buy. And there'll be another sheep in the same butcher shop. He has tied that sheep and he has given some green grass, and the sheep is sitting there chewing the green grass. Oh, how lucky I am today. I got so much green grass. The sheep has no ability to think, any moment the butcher can slaughter me and hang my meat like that. An animal cannot foresee its impending and inevitable death. It cannot foresee. Whereas as human beings, we can talk about it, we can think about it, we can try to understand what this is all about. This is an important distinction between animal consciousness, animal's ability, and a human ability. So, our Vedic literatures, our Indian systems of knowledge had thought about it and had practiced this knowledge, and there is a volume of knowledge available and developed, and with this knowledge we can benefit ourselves and we can benefit the world around us. It will make us better persons. Now somebody may say, oh, you're telling Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, something, you have to believe that one. No, it is not an unreasonable thing. Like say for instance, I'll give you one example. I've come to a new city like Calicut, maybe town, Calicut city. And I don't know, first time I'm coming here. And I want to go to NIT. I'm in the train, I just came out of the train station or something like that. And then I ask somebody, of course, I'm giving an example of pre-Google days. Now you have Google Map and you can find your way. Imagine we didn't have that one. Some of you are very young. When for a long number of years, we never had that in our lives. And we would always ask somebody and find the way. So I ask somebody how to go to NIT. And so he will say, oh, okay, you take this road, straight you go 2 kilometers. On the right side, you will find one red building. You take a right turn there and travel another 3 kilometers. And there you will find one blue building there. Take a left turn in the blue building. Travel another 20 kilometers. You will come to some direction he will give. Now, how can I be sure he has given me the right direction? I can be doubtful. So what I do, okay, I put some preliminary faith in what he is saying, and I'll say, all right, I'll go 2 kilometers, let's see. And then I'll find the blue building on the right side. Thank you. I'll find a blue building. Then immediately it gives me confidence. Oh, what he said seems to be working. And then I'll take a right turn and travel another 2-3 kilometers and I'll see a red building. Oh, what he said seems reasonable. And I continue. This is how we have all done, isn't it? We would do in our lives normally. The same way we can take up this process in small steps, see for ourselves, and then when we get confidence, we can take more steps. Now another question that may come to somebody's mind. Okay, you are telling in Indian system, Vedic system, but in the world there are so many other traditions also. Other religious traditions also. There is Hinduism, there is Islam, there is Christianity, there is Buddhism, there is Judaism, and so many other religions are there. What about all that? Actually, the core of every religion is the same. Every religion has certain core values and core principles and core understanding. And then there are a certain other peripheral practices that are described in the religion. And those peripheral practices differ from religion to religion because these religions were taught in very different geographies, in different cultures, in different languages in the world. And so in those geographies, in those cultures, what was essential, those practices can be different. But the core of every religion is we must know God, we must know who is our creator, we must not mess our lives with too much attachment and greed and pursuit of material things in this world. There should be some moderation in that. And our focus should be in developing an understanding about God and developing love of God. This is the core of every religion. There may be differences in one kind of a eating habit, one kind of a dressing habit, different habits. Those are peripheral principles. The core of every religion is the same. Imagine hundreds of years ago, when travel was not so easy, when communication was not as it is now. In those geographies, in those pockets, in that culture, that practice was taught by some great saints, great teachers of that religion, which was very relevant. Today we are in a very unique situation. In a few rupees you can make a phone call to America. Few thousand rupees you can travel, or maybe a little less than about 1,00,000 rupees you can travel to America and come back. So things are very different than it was today in the past. And hence there has been an intermixing of cultures. So none of these things are unscientific. It is not unreasonable. There is reason, logic behind this. And hence we must pay a little attention to this. And one last thing I will say and close. How will all this help us in our life? You see, there was a man, he was sleeping, and in his sleep, he was deeply asleep and he was having a dream. And in his dream, there was a tiger chasing him. And he was running, he was sweating, looking behind. He's running and the tiger is leaping forward. And he's going through this kind of a nightmare. So I am watching him. I'm seeing him. He's all very disturbed. How can I help him? One way I can help him is if I can somehow get into his dream and take a dream gun and shoot the dream tiger. I can help him, isn't it? There is another way I can help him. Shake him, wake him up, and then he will say, the tiger is gone. The Vedic literatures and every religious literature in the world of genuine religious traditions, sometimes there are some bogus traditions which people make up. We are not worried about that. We are talking about original, genuine traditions. All teach us. There is one level of reality, our material life. There is another level of reality of spiritual existence, because we are all spiritual beings. Just like if you don't go to school, if you don't go to college, if you don't work hard, your material life is going to be terrible. You are an uneducated, unpud fellow. What life you will have? What kind of an earning you can have? What kind of a lifestyle you can lead? It's going to be terrible. So you go to school, college, work hard, get educated, get a good job, learn good manners. All these different things we do, isn't it? At the material level. In the same way, there is one more level of existence of the spirit. I was telling about the spirit leaves the body becomes useless, and we turn it into ashes. So there is another level of reality called spiritual existence, and we must learn about that spiritual existence. There is a science behind it. There is a systematic understanding about that spiritual reality. There is a material reality, vyavaharik reality, prapanchik reality. There is another reality called the adhyatmic reality. We must know a little bit about that reality. Only human beings can do that. I can't talk to a cat or a dog and understand there is a spiritual reality in you. He cannot understand. So we must understand that spiritual reality, and we must learn how to navigate through life, pursuing our material goals and also have some spiritual development goals. When we do this, we will know how to navigate through all kinds of challenging situations in life, because we know all of these material realities, they go through certain flux of change and brings happiness and distress, anxieties and all kinds of things, brings success and failure. That's the nature of material reality. And at the same time, I should be conscious of my spiritual reality, understand more about that. And hence, even when there are reverses in the material reality, I know this is a temporary feature. It will be gone. I'm actually, ultimately, my reality is at the spiritual level. Hence, we will be able to navigate and go on with our lives and make right decisions in our life with the knowledge, spiritual knowledge, develop and understanding also being cultivated parallel to our other pursuits. And this spiritual cultivation, spiritual pursuit, does not mean you have to give up everything and go to the Himalayas. No. In all our lives, we run our lives in multiple tracks. We have a professional track. We have a personal life track. We may have some hobby. Some of you may be having some interest in sports. Some of you may have interest in music, some in literature. You do that also a little bit, isn't it? Every now and then. Sometimes you do more of music, more of study, less of studies. Sometimes you do more of studies, more and less of music. So we all know how to toggle between we run our lives on multiple tracks. In the same way, we should initiate and fire one more track called spiritual development track in our lives. And that way, we can also make spiritual progress while we are pursuing our career, profession, job, whatever we want to do. This is the beauty. And hence, we must have some understanding of the spiritual reality of life, and while we also go on with our material development. This is the message of the Vedic literatures, and this is in line with every tradition in the world. All traditions in the world recommend the same thing in varying degrees, details. Thank you very much, and I'll open up for any questions if you... Do we have time for questions, Professor? What? Few minutes. If anyone wishes to ask. Please do not feel shy. if I ask a question, what will everybody think? Oh, such a stupid question, intelligent. We are not here for any such thing. We are here for a very serious discussion about our own spiritual reality. It is in our own interest we must inquire into this. We must have an understanding about this. It is not for pleasing someone else. So this is a very sober and mature and a serious discussion that we are having. Yes, please.
First of all, thank you very much for this. One thing I want to ask.
You want to use the mic?
One thing I want to ask. You told that the core of every religion is the same. Okay. So why we need this Bhagavad Gita itself for spiritual development? Can we follow other religion or something which will develop this? Okay, thank you.
Any religious system which teaches us more about our spiritual reality and helps us to develop love for God, we should accept it. It's not necessary it is one religion or the other religion. Now, all religions have this information, but there may be different degrees of details available in the different religions. But all religions provide this basic information. In the Indian system of knowledge, this knowledge has been elaborated and extensively discussed. It's like, example is, you have a pocket dictionary and you can have a multi-volume dictionary. Both are dictionaries, both are meant to give meanings of words. In a multi-volume dictionary, you will have so much more information. Like in English, Shakespeare's time, this word was used in this way, and in this, the meaning has changed in this way. This is the way it can be used. This is the way the word can be inflected and used in a different. So more information is available in a multi-volume dictionary. And a pocket dictionary may have less information. But both are serving the same purpose. In the same way, in different religious systems, there are greater and lesser degree of information, and hence but all of them are serving the same purpose of a dictionary. We should recognize that. Yes, please.
We are moving more towards technology and all things. Still we know that we have to go through the spiritual way, but still we are moving more ignorant and innocent. So what is the main cause and how can we reduce this?
How can we reduce this? So as I mentioned earlier, we have to have a balanced approach to both our material development and spiritual development. We cannot shut down material development. At the end of the day, everyone has to eat some food, have a decent place to live. You cannot deny these things. And hence, we have to work according to the circumstances in our life, in our country, in our city, in our family, to have a certain decent life. We should not forget that. And at the same time, we must also spend a little time and effort and energy understanding spiritual reality. Both should go hand in hand. Prematurely, if we give up material pursuit and think that I'll only pursue spiritual reality, it will be a mess. Prematurely, if we think that no, I will not do any spiritual reality, I will only do material development, we will have the world like we have now. full of strife, ecological problems, climate problems, inequalities, all kinds of problems, and wars going on. So if we want to have a harmonious life, we must understand spiritual science, we must understand material science, and have a balance of both. This is the recommended path. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Chanchalpati Prabhu, for enlightening us with kind words. And I have an announcement to make. I'll introduce myself. So I'm a alumni of this campus. I'm 2017 passed out from computer science. So I got benefited with this knowledge. Actually has been taught in our college. Like we have a science and spirituality club, right? That we are, as an alumni, we are planning to conduct some workshops in the coming weeks. Maybe it's tentatively dated in the 3rd week of September. So whoever are interested, kindly register for workshops. It will be under Science and Spirituality Club from the campus itself. So we will be coming as a group of alumni, like 5 to 6 people, and we'll conduct the sessions. And so there is a poem.
Now I would like to invite Sanket from the PG first year to recite a poem to conclude the event.
हरे कृष्णा, हरे कृष्णा। सुनिए। निराश हूँ, थक हार गया हूँ, टूटे सपनों की माला है। निराश हूँ, थक हार गया हूँ, टूटे सपनों की माला है। मजबूर हो गया, बदल रहा हूँ, किस्मत का खेल निराला है। हर जगह कसूर जो मेरा था, कुछ ना करके भी बदनाम था। कुछ किया नहीं, कसूर था मेरा, इल्ज़ाम भी सरेआम था। कुछ किया हुआ तो ताने सुनता, तुमसे कुछ ना आता है। सारा काम बिगाड़ डाला, सबसे बोला जाता है। अब मैं करूं तो क्या करूं, क्या ना करूं, उलझन इतनी ढेर थी। अब मैं करूं तो क्या करूं, क्या ना करूं, उलझन इतनी ढेर थी। श्री कृष्ण कहते रुक जा बेटा, गीता तुझको भेंट थी। गीता से मुझको सब्र था आया, ये वक्त भी गुजर जाएगा। साहस रख, श्री कृष्ण है तेरे, कितनों से दुखड़ा गाएगा। श्री कृष्ण ने हाथ जो पकड़ा है, श्री कृष्ण ने जो हाथ जो पकड़ा है, मुझे मंजिल भी दिखलाएंगे। तू बढ़ता जा, तू करता जा, तू निश्चल कर्म है करता जा। तू बढ़ता जा, तू करता जा, तू निश्चल कर्म है करता जा। सच का रास्ता भी तुझको श्री कृष्ण ही बतलाएंगे, श्री कृष्ण ही बतलाएंगे। बोलिए बांके बिहारी लाल की जय।
Thank you everyone. Thank you so much, sir. It was a great privilege to have you today. We are having another talk session with IPS Shri Nidhin Vaidsan, who will be starting at around 5:30. All the students are requested to be present here. You will be provided the refreshments and all. Stay back here. Students are requested to sit. They are not allowed to leave. Wait.
So, as a token of our love, I would like to offer a shawl and then Guru Vairappan's photo to Prabhuji. So refreshments are arranged outside, and thank you all for attending this session, and we will have several follow-up sessions as announced by Kranti. So you be in touch with us, and our students are here, and I am a faculty in the mechanical engineering department. My name is Sridharan, and my faculty room is in the PG block adjacent to mechanical engineering department, room number 203. You can always approach me for any aspect related to this Science and Spirituality Club and further programs also. No? Okay. So once again, I offer our sincere thanks to Prabhuji for